In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to make money sports betting through the plus EV strategy and specifically through the DG Fantasy Optimizer. And this video is also specifically geared towards PrizePicks content, so I'm going to break down all the math behind the plus EV strategy and exactly how to narrow down the sharpest bets on PrizePicks every single day. But before jumping into all the advanced math behind the plus EV strategy, I do want to start out with the basics. EV is the expected value that you will get when placing a bet at any specific sportsbook. And the expected value is measured over a long period of time and differently over various sportsbooks. Each sportsbook sets their lines differently because they have a different EV. In other words, they have differing opinions on their specific players to go over or under a specific player prop. For instance, if we're taking a look here at Luke Voigt specifically today to go over total bases of 1.5, looks like Pinnacle has set their line to minus 144, FanDuel minus 145, DraftKings Sportsbook minus 140. They're all somewhat similar, but they're slightly different. This is the expected value that each sportsbook sets for that specific player prop of Luke Voigt over 1.5 total bases. Now, you guys also have to consider that these are juiced lines. In other words, if you guys don't know what juiced lines are, they're the added juice that each sportsbook adds to their bet to make profit in the long term off their bettors. What we need to do before calculating our plus EV strategy is take the juice out of these lines. And you can actually do that with a simple calculation here. So if we look at Luke Voigt over 1.5 total bases on Pinnacle, they have their overline set to minus 144. Their underline set to plus 108. If we add in both the over and under of Luke Voigt total bases 1.5 and to the no-vig calculator here on OddsJam, we can see that the real probability to hit is 55.1%. But if we head over to this other betting calculator, not taking into consideration the no-vig, we can see that minus 144 translates to 59.02%. We'll call it 59%. So now that we know the actual percentage odds to hit based on Pinnacle odds here for Luke Voigt, we can now figure out our plus EV strategy, specifically on PrizePicks. By finding this no-vig percentage on Luke Voigt over 1.5 total bases, we're now able to assume that Luke Voigt should hit the over of this base prop 55.11% of the time. What that means is that he should hit the over of this projection 55 times over 100 sample size. Now, why is this relevant to the plus EV strategy? Now, I want to jump into the advanced math here on PrizePicks because there is such an edge when comparing all these major sportsbooks no-vig lines over the PrizePicks. I'm going to show you why here in a second. Now, what I want to do is look into the math behind the payouts here for PrizePicks. When you pair two players in a two-man power play on PrizePicks, you get a 3 times return. Essentially, you put in $5, you get $15. Now, what I did is I took it a step further and I said, what two lines here equal a 3 times payout if I were to parlay them together on a separate sports book? And as you can see here, I've already done the quick calculations here. Minus 137, two minus 137 bets here parlayed on a specific sports book. If they both hit, that is a plus 199.26 odds to hit. And this translates to a no-vig percentage of 57.81%. In other words, if you bet two minus 137 bets here on other sports books, they each have a 57.8% chance to hit, comes out to a 3 times payout. Because going back to here, again, you can turn $5 into $14.96 when you pair two minus 137 bets together on a sports book. So now let's use our brains here just for a second. Now, if we go and we look for bets on separate sports books that have an average no-vig percentage of minus 137 or greater, then you're technically getting plus EV bets on PrizePicks. You're identifying that discrepancy between the expected value on these sports books compared to PrizePicks. Now, let's do this for each combination of PrizePicks payouts. Now, if we were to take a look here, pairing 3 specific player props in the PrizePicks, assuming they all hit, it would pay out a 5 times return, $5 into $25. If we look at this in terms of a sportsbook's odds, if we pair 3 minus 141 bets together on a sportsbook, we get the same exact return, $5 into $24.94, give or take a couple cents here. So now what this is saying is that if we identify a minus 141 bet, 3 of them individually or higher, we'd identify a plus EV opportunity if we were to take those bets specifically on PrizePicks. Okay, now let's do this for the last type of power play that we can do on PrizePicks. If we do a 4-man power play, we turn $5 into $50, which is technically a 10 times return. Now, if we take this exact same payout and look at it from a perspective of a sports book, we'd take minus 128 4 times, pair those together in a parlay, and it would pay out exactly 5 times, a little bit over actually. So 4 minus 128 bets on the sportsbook would pay the exact type of payout on PrizePicks. So in conclusion, you can find 4 minus 128 bets on major sports books and find them on PrizePicks, assuming that the projection is exactly the same, and you get a plus EV bet on PrizePicks. So now let's go ahead and put the math to the test here and actually pair 2 plays that are showing higher than minus 137 here on the sportsbooks lines, pair them in a 2-play power play, and I'll show you what a plus EV bet looks like. Taking a look here at the Rockies and Padres, we have, it looks like an average of minus 180 in terms of the major sports books, which comes out to a 61.04% chance to hit. And again, this is the no vig percentage. Let's go ahead and just use our other example here, Luke Voigt. We'll pair it with this play. Right now, it comes out to a no vig percentage across, again, this is the average over all the major sports books of 56.7%. When you pair these 2 power plays, or when you pair these 2 picks rather, on major sports books as opposed to PrizePicks, you're looking at odds, parlay odds percentage of plus 163.58, a total payout of $13.18. You get a higher rate of return, as you know, as we just discussed, as we just talked about on PrizePicks, $5 and the $15. So when we look at this from a percentage perspective, it looks like the no vig percent for this parlay to hit, again, according to sportsbooks, which is what we're looking at in terms of these average odds, is going to be 37.23%. We also know that the PrizePicks percentage odds to hit is going to be 33.33% because their odds for a 2-play power play is going to be plus 200. I think it's plus 199 and some change. So now let's take the percentage hit and subtract the percentage hit to get the plus EV percentage. So our odds to hit, when we compared those exact same picks on our sportsbooks odds, was 37.94%. And again, PrizePicks is implying that those 2 picks on their app comes out to a 33.33% odds to hit, which means that the difference between these 2 is 4.61%, which is the plus EV percentage. In other words, this is saying if you play those 2 plays consistently over a long period of time, you're going to receive a 4.61 plus EV percentage. And in other words, a 4.61 ROI percentage. Now again, in this example, this is a 2-man power play, but you can do the exact same thing with a 3-man power play and a 4-man power play. It's also noteworthy to say that a 4-man power play is the best bet to make over the long term, assuming you have those plus EV bets. Now, the one thing to note at the very end here of this video is that our optimizer identifies the plus EV bets immediately all the time. And this is just what I wanted to show you guys, the hidden math behind the plus EV bets and how to make long-term bets. Now, these are actually not that good of plus EV bets that I paired together, but they are still plus EV. And as long as you're willing to play these and assuming you have good bankroll management, you will make money long-term sports betting.